Hello, hi, a very happy good evening. So this is Krishna and we're talking about the story of life on earth, and that's biology. So welcome to my new beginning. So we are talking about the chapter neural control and coordination. So in continuation, so today we're going to talk about the transmission of nerve impulse. So please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'm sorry for not having a class yesterday. So yes, I'm here and I won't disappoint you any further. So we are going to talk about transmission of nerve impulse. So let me tell you, once you understand conduction of nerve impulse, transmission of nerve impulse is pretty simple. So it's going to be a very short class, so hardly for 15-20 minutes we are going to discuss this topic, and it's a pretty easy topic, I would say. So we will see how transmission happens, and first of all, what is transmission? So transmission is how information moves between two neurons. That is transmission. So how does it happen? So there's a new video of mine coming up, so which talks about how anesthesia works. So there I would have told you when neurons fire, communication happens. So how exactly neurons fire? So this is the back lesson of that concept. So it's good that you listen to this, and it's also a very important topic from your NEET perspective. So for all those who are watching, so thank you so much for watching my lecture. So please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. So I know a lot of you are quite busy with your own school schedule, so it's not possible for you to come live, because a lot of students message came, ma'am, your timing is not matching with our schedule because we are having our classes and our offline school classes, and you are having your class at 5, so it is really tough for us. But that's completely fine. So I would recommend you to watch my recorded the lectures later, and I would like you to get back to me for any type of questionnaire session. So either in the comment box, or some of you are connected with me in Telegram, so please do put in your questions. So the more questions you solve, the better it is, right? So that is how your brain will get tuned to. So solve as many questions as you can and get back to me. So as of now, I've not got any questions, only I have been asking questions. So I'm in the hunt of questions. So yes, ask me questions based on your NEET exam. So please start preparing. So pep up. So I guess you guys have seen the NEET result and it was commendable, right? So it does not mean that a competition is increasing. It also means that you can, because they were also students like you who scored well, right? So please come up, take your stand. So prove the world that you are also not any less. Okay, so with this, so let's talk about transmission of nerve impulse. So last class, that is day before yesterday, I spoke about conduction of nerve impulse. So today I'm going to talk about transmission of nerve impulse. So I will give you a recap about conduction of nerve impulse, where we spoke about polarization, depolarization and repolarization. So I will talk about all this. I'll give you a small recap about all this, and then we'll move forward to today's topic. So today's topic is pretty short, so we might be done as quickly as 5:45. It's no wonder, but it's okay. So I guess I should not give you a lot of stress, because you should be able to watch it quickly if you are revising, right? So that is the reason I'm doing it in bits and pieces, so that one long video for 1 hour is too tiring to watch than to watch 5 minutes video of 10 lectures, 10 videos, right? Okay, so that is my main aim, to make you stress free, but at the same time help you score. Okay, so let's go into today's topic, that is transmission of nerve impulse. So before we go into today's topic, so I have a good news for all those who are looking for, who are willing to take a drop. So there was a student in the earlier class who asked, ma'am, can I take a drop? My score is 484. Yes, if you have decided to take a drop, and then please don't wait any further. So we are launching a complete English medium course. So people usually say, ma'am, it's a mixed language, so we do not know Hindi, so how do we understand? So that is the same problem for you with chemistry and physics, right? So don't worry. So here we are launching a new course, that is the Pathfinder course, and it is completely in English. So this is still your NEET 2022. So we do not know when your NEET exam is, but till your NEET exam is there, we promise to stay in touch with you. So this is the Pathfinder course, and it is completely in English, and the price is only 35,000. So we have reduced the price so much so that you people can afford it easily. So please join us for this Pathfinder course, which is beginning from 15th of November. So if you have queries regarding how do I purchase this course, so please download eCareerPoint app. So there you can purchase the Pathfinder course, add it to the cart, you can pay and you can come off. So you are enrolled. So from 15th you're going to have live classes, and I promise I am teaching biology there, so we can get much closer, so we can get in touch, so we can discuss a lot of questions. Okay, so please don't forget, or at least pass the word. So if you're 11th grade student, if you're 12th grade student, if you're not a target student, so please pass on the information to those who are in need. So there is a Pathfinder course which is completely in English. Okay, so thank you. So I hope you do that. So I'm thanking you well in advance. So let's go into the topic, that is conduction of nerve impulse. So what is conduction of nerve impulse? So let's talk about nerve impulse. So how the information passes along the length of the axon, so that is conduction of nerve impulse, right? So how does it exactly happen? So let me draw the structure of a neuron. So please bear with my structures. So I guess my neuron is twisted and turned. Okay, suppose this is my neuron. So how the information moves along the length of the axon, so that is conduction, right? So how does it move? So what are the concepts that we spoke about? So we call this as the axoplasm or the axonal membrane, right? So this axonal membrane or the axoplasm, so in the resting state it is charged. I would say in the resting state it is polarized, right? So why and who gives it this charge, or who makes it polarized? So that is because of the presence of the ion channels like the Na plus and the K plus ion channels, and these ion channels are selectively permeable. So when I say selectively permeable, so they allow only particular substance inside and not all substances and ions inside the membrane. So that is what I mean by selectively permeable. Okay, so Na plus and K plus ions. So these ion channels make the membrane more permeable to K plus on the inner side and Na plus on the outer side. And also on the inner side you have more amount of negatively charged ions, and on the outer side you have more amount of positively charged ions. So since there is a difference in charge on the inner side, on the outer side of the axoplasm, so this is known as a concentration gradient. Also, this potential across the axonal membrane or the axon of a neuron is known as the resting membrane potential. And the value of this resting membrane potential is minus 70 millivolt, right? So now what happens? So when I give a stimulus, so I gave this analogy with respect to a door, right? So now the door of my house is closed, so that is the resting state of the neuron. So now it is charged, okay? So like on the inner side of the door, so people are there, on the outer side other kind of people are there. So inner to the door I have people whom I know, right? On the outer side I have people whom I don't know, because that is the outside of my house, right? So there is a difference in population. Obviously on the outer side I have more people than my family members, right? So there's a concentration gradient setup. Now when there is a stimulus applied, say for example someone presses the calling bell, right? A stimulus is applied. So now I will go and open the door. So when I open the door, or when a stimulus is applied to one part of the axon, so what happens? The membrane permeability changes. So the Na plus ions which is present on the outer side will come inside. So the person who is on the door will come inside when you open the door. So that's what is happening. So Na plus is coming inside. So now the membrane permeability is changed. The charge is getting reversed. So now this membrane potential across that particular region of the neuron is known as nerve impulse or action potential, right? But I will not keep the door open for long, right? So I have to close the door. So when I close the door, I am restoring the action potential, right? So that is when the K plus ions move out to restore the action potential. So these are the three stages in the conduction of nerve impulse. So first I have the polarized state and the resting state. Then it is depolarized when a particular stimulus is applied. So after, when someone comes, I open the door, that is depolarization because the polarity changes. And after that I close the door, so it is going back to the resting state. I call that as repolarization. So these are the three stages in the conduction of nerve impulse. Okay, hi Aniris Club, hello, hi. So yes, I am really good. How are you? So thank you so much for remembering me and joining the session. So please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I hope you're doing good. So what are your further plans? Can we know? How was your NEET exam? So I guess you are my old student, you're not my new student, right? So you have been there even before NEET exam. So I guess you have given NEET. So what is your score? So what are your plans further? So are you willing to join a good medical college, or are you taking a drop, or are you going to join me again? Yes, Aniris, can we have it from you? Offline class is going on. Okay, so which means you are repeating a year. Okay, that's great. Okay, all the very best. So please don't get disheartened with your scores that you have got. So you can still do wonders. All the very best. Wow, 520 is not a less score. Very good. So you just need a little more effort to shine bright. That's okay. You're still a beautiful star. So don't worry. So you still can come up. I'm waiting to see your great results next year after NEET 2022. So prepare well. Any doubt, anything that you want me to explain, so please don't hesitate to put up here. It's not that you're learning somewhere else, so ma'am will not help you. Never. So studying and knowledge is the same. So I'm ready to impart it to anyone who's willing to learn. So please put your questions here. Okay, so all the very best for your journey. So prepare well, and yes, if you get time, so please watch my lectures also, and please don't forget to share my channel with your friends and your siblings, your juniors and seniors. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe. So thank you so much, Anires. Yes, thank you. Yeah. So this is how conduction of nerve impulse happens, right? So now we're going to talk about how transmission happens. So transmission is how information moves between two neurons. So we are going to talk about that. So that is transmission. So let's see how it moves on. So nerve impulse is transmitted from one neuron to the other through junctions called as synapses. For example, when you say I have to shift two trains, okay? For example, from Kota I'm going to Delhi, and from Delhi I go to Delhi. So I catch another train from Delhi. So Delhi is the junction where my two trains are meeting, right? Okay, so hi Sona, hi. So I guess you joined a bit late, but still welcome. Thank you. So you're asking me Pathfinder course. Yes, I am so grateful that you have asked me. Yes, I am grateful to explain it again to you. So yes, we are starting a Pathfinder course. It is completely in English. You'll have physics, chemistry, biology completely in English, and it is still your NEET 2022. So for the entire year, you can say it is like a target course, and the price of the course is 35,000. So yeah, it is completely in English. So if you have doubts on how to purchase it, how to see what happens, so you have to download the eCareerPoint app, and I will be teaching biology in the Pathfinder course with this completely English medium. Okay, Sona? Yes? Yeah, it is completely English medium. So I guess I have answered your question. So it is written English medium. Yeah, I would like to see you there so that we get more in touch, because I'm not able to help you with physics and chemistry on this platform, but I'm definitely sure I will be able to help you with physics and chemistry on this platform. Okay, yeah, so thank you for coming, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Yeah, so we were talking about transmission and we were talking about junctions, right? So similarly, the space between two neurons is known as the neuromuscular junction. Sorry, that is known as the synapse. Sorry, I'm still in muscle. So a synapse is formed by the membranes of a presynaptic neuron and a postsynaptic neuron. So I have one neuron here and the other neuron very close by. So the first neuron, I give this a name, presynaptic neuron, and the second neuron, I call it as the postsynaptic neuron. So I name the neurons like this. So you can also say neuron 1 and neuron 2, but making it more technical. So I call it as presynaptic neuron, and the next one is postsynaptic neuron. Fine. So sometimes these two neurons may be separated by a small gap. So we call that as the synaptic cleft. So this synaptic cleft is just 200 angstroms. So will you teach from basics, ma'am? I'm not through. Yes, definitely I will teach through basics because it is a year-long course. So I will teach from basics. So especially in biology, yes, I will teach you class 11, class 12. So we will be starting with class 11. I will be starting with living world. So I will teach you the entire chapter of living world. So we will solve a set of questions. So we have question solving session. So after every chapter ends, so we have a question solving session. So this course begins from 15th November. So 15th November and 16th November I'll be teaching you living world, and 17th November we'll have the sheet, and 18th November I'll move forward with biological classification. Yes, so yeah, in physics and chemistry also they will teach you 11th and 12th. So no one will only teach you 12th, they'll teach you both 11th and 12th. Yeah, both physics and chemistry, it's completely in English. They will also teach you from class 11 and class 12. So all of us will be starting from class 11th portion because that gives you the base, right? So now if I directly say phylum, orthopoda, etc., you will not understand, right? So I have to teach you the basics of class 11. So both physics and chemistry as well as bio, we will start with class 11. Okay, so now, yes, did I answer your queries? Yes, any more queries? Okay, so sometimes the two neurons, that is the presynaptic and the postsynaptic neuron, may be separated by a small gap, and that I call it as the synaptic cleft, and it is 200 angstroms wide. Okay, so moving further, so let me explain it here so that it's pretty clear. So let me draw one neuron. So this is one neuron, right? So the parts of the neuron, I hope you guys remember. So we have cell body, cyton, axon and dendrites, right? So your axon is having myelin sheath as well. Yes? Okay. Ma'am, in community post it is 4,999. Okay, so let me make it clear. So Pathfinder is the name under which you have a lot of courses. This 4,999 course that you saw in the community post is mixed language. Okay, so when you want it in English as well as in Hindi, so where Hindi will be a majority of 80%, so that is for 4,999. But if you want it in completely English medium, it is 35,000. Okay, so Pathfinder is a broad name that we have given, so under which they have, the management has a lot of courses. This 4,999 is for mixed language, and the English medium, that is one that is completely in English medium, is 35,000. Maybe now you can cross check the difference if you have a doubt. Okay, so now, yes. So this is the first neuron with the myelin sheath. So I quickly draw the second neuron. So this is my second neuron, right? Okay, so I call this as my presynaptic neuron and this as my postsynaptic neuron. Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, so now, so can I expect you on the November 15th class? So can I see you on my first class? Yes? Okay, fine. So this is known as the presynaptic neuron. This is basically the first neuron. Presynaptic neuron or the presynaptic membrane, and this is my postsynaptic neuron or the postsynaptic membrane. So why do I call it synaptic? Because the space between the two neuron is known as a synapse. So since this is before the synapse, this is presynaptic, and this is after, this is postsynaptic. Okay, so this synapse is the junction. So the two neurons can be separated by a small space in the synapse, that is 200 angstrom, and this is known as a synaptic cleft. So synapse is there between every two neurons, right? So if I have to go from this room to the next room, I have a wall in between. I cannot move that. So that is a synapse. But if the two rooms are separated by a space where I have to walk few feet apart, so that is a cleft. Okay, so this space obviously will be there. Two neurons will not overlap. So if it is in close proximity, this synaptic cleft is not there. But if it's a bit apart and if it has a space of 200 angstrom, so we call that as the synaptic cleft. Yes, ma'am. Hello. Very happy good evening. So thank you so much for joining us today. So please do like, share and subscribe. Okay. So this is called as a synaptic cleft. Fine. So now I hope you have got the terms clear. So one is presynaptic neuron. The other is postsynaptic neuron or the postsynaptic membrane. And the space of the junction between two neurons is the synapse. And if the space is a bit more and it is not very close by, where it has a gap of 200 angstrom, so that is synaptic cleft. Okay, fine. So moving further, we have two types of synapse, two type of gaps you can say. So what are they? One is electrical and one is chemical. Fine. So first let's talk about electrical synapse. So how does the current pass through? So that is electrical synapse. So much in the same way, there is no complication. So at the electrical synapses, the membranes of the pre and the postsynaptic neurons are in very close proximity. So one clue to remember your electrical synapse is there is no synaptic cleft. There is only a synapse, there is no synaptic cleft, there is no gap of even 200 angstrom. So 1 angstrom is 10 power minus 10 meters, so there is not even that small space. Okay, so there's always, it's always very close together. You can literally say it is sticking together. So it is in close proximity to each other. So that is how the neurons are arranged in a electrical synapse. Fine. So electric current can flow directly from one neuron to other across these synapses. So there is no mediator in between. It can directly pass from one neuron to the other. There is no in-between mediator who is mediating the process. So transmission of impulse along the electrical synapse is very similar to the impulse conduction along the axon. So in the axon, the impulse has to move like this, right? So there is no gap. So this is similar to your electrical synapse. So I'm just trying to make you correlate these two things. This is how your electrical synapse can happen. So impulse transmission across an electrical synapse is always faster than across a chemical synapse. So it's pretty easy, no? So it is easy for me to GPay than give the money to someone and then say pay it there. So I can get my work done instantly. It saves time. So much in the same way. So electrical synapse is much quicker because it does not have a mediator, and this is something logical, right? So these are the points I want you to remember under electrical synapse. Fine. So electrical synapse are rare in the system because we have more of chemical synapse. So that is also the reason maybe we have less common sense. Well, that's not a part of kidding, but that's okay. So these are the points that I want you to remember here. So remember, in electrical synapse, the synaptic cleft is missing and the neurons fire directly to each other. So there is no mediator. So it is pretty fast, but this is rare. So whichever is good, that is rare, right? So that is how it is. So it is similar to the transmission of impulse along the length of the neuron. So moving further, so this is the picture I want you to show. So you can see this is neuron 1, this is neuron 2. There is no intermediator, there is no gap. So the gap is not even 200 angstroms close. But yeah, this is one neuron, this is one neuron, it is very close by. So it is quickly fired from this neuron to this neuron, okay? Yeah, the next one is the chemical synapse. So at a chemical synapse, the membranes of the pre and the postsynaptic neurons are separated by a fluid-filled space that is called as a synaptic cleft. So here we have mediators. So that is the reason it is very slow. And of course, this is most common because the other one, electrical synapse, is rare, right? Okay. So this chemical synapse, so in a chemical synapse, so the junction, the synapse between two neurons has a fluid, and this is known as the synaptic cleft. Okay, so chemicals is so this fluid filled space has chemicals. Anyway, it's a chemical synapse. So these chemicals are called as neurotransmitters. So neuro, which help in transmitting the information from a neuron. So that is what they mean by neurotransmitters. They are involved in the transmission of impulse from these synapses. So the axon terminals contain vesicles filled with these neurotransmitters. So your axon ends in axon terminals and it starts from the axon hillock, right? So these axon terminals have knob-like structures. So these knob-like structures contain vesicles. So vesicles are bag-like structures which contain your neurotransmitters. So now things make sense. Are you able to correlate? Yes? So when an impulse arrives at the axon terminal, it stimulates the movement of the synaptic vesicle towards the membrane, fuse with the plasma membrane and reach the neurotransmitter in the synaptic cleft. So further, the released neurotransmitter binds to the specific receptors present on the postsynaptic membrane. Ma'am, it's pretty complex. It's only written in words, so don't worry. So let me draw it like this. So this is my axon terminal and this is my synaptic knob. Okay, so let's understand. So this is my axon terminal. Okay, and this is my synaptic knob. Fine. Okay, so inside the synaptic knob, I have bag-like structures like this, which is called as vesicles. So these bag-like structures or vesicles, they have what is known as neurotransmitters. Okay, so now very quickly I have the next dendrite here. So very quickly I have the next dendrite here. So you can say this is my postsynaptic membrane and this is my presynaptic membrane. So let me write this as presynaptic membrane. And this as postsynaptic membrane. Fine? Okay. So now what happens when an impulse, when a signal reaches the axon terminal, right? It stimulates these vesicles. So when these vesicles are stimulated, they move towards the membrane, the plasma membrane here, and they attach. Okay. So after they reach the plasma membrane, these rupture. So they break open, releasing neurotransmitters. So once they fuse with the plasma membrane, they fuse with the plasma membrane, they rupture and they release the neurotransmitters that is stored inside them. So these neurotransmitters have receptors present on the postsynaptic membrane. So these neurotransmitters will come and bind to these receptors, and thus the stimulus or the impulse or the signal is passed on to the next neuron. So this is how transmission happens with the help of a chemical synapse. Ma'am, can you give us some examples of neurotransmitters? Yes, why not? So you have acetylcholine. So you would have heard about the disease Alzheimer's. Yes, so where you have memory loss, so that is when your acetylcholine is not secreted, your neurotransmitter acetylcholine is not secreted. So you have acetylcholine, you have dopamine, so then you have serotonin. So you have all of these, and you also have one more called as GABA. So that is gamma aminobutyric acid. So all these are neurotransmitters. So when the impulse or the signal or the stimulus reaches the axon terminal, so the vesicles that is present in the knobs are stimulated to fuse with the plasma membrane. So once they fuse, they rupture and release the neurotransmitters in this synaptic cleft. Okay, and these neurotransmitters come and bind to the receptors on the postsynaptic membrane, thus passing the stimulus or the impulse into the next neuron. So this is all about transmission of nerve impulse. So I have a picture which clearly depicts both of them. So in electrical synapse, the synapse is there, but there is no synaptic cleft. But in a chemical synapse, I have a synaptic cleft, that is a gap of 200 angstroms, right? So this is the difference between both, that is electrical and chemical synapse. So I hope you have understood two important topics. One is conduction and the other one is transmission of impulse. So let's make it clear. So I was talking to you about the human neural system. So then I was talking to you about the structure of a neuron, the types of a neuron. Then we went on to talk about the conduction of nerve impulse. And the next one is transmission of nerve impulse. So conduction is how signal passes along the length of the axon. And transmission is how it passes between two neurons. So I have discussed all these topics so far. So what is left is human brain. So then we will talk about reflex arc and reflex action. So further we'll be talking about human eye and human ear. So we have three major topics to cover in this chapter. So then we will go to the last chapter of human physiology, that is chemical coordination and integration. Alright. So with this we are done with today's lecture. So like I told you, it's a pretty short lecture. So we are done even before 5:45. So that's completely fine. So again, I I have a reminder, so please join the Pathfinder course. It's completely in English medium. So yeah, I couldn't support you with physics and chemistry on this YouTube channel, but I would definitely be able to help you out here in this course, because you have both physics, chemistry and biology in complete English medium. So we'll be teaching the entire syllabus for NEET, so class 11 as well as class 12, and the batch commences from 15th November. So please join the batch. So I am taking biology, so you can see my teaching from YouTube classes, and then you can rate me, or you can see you can tell me where I am not teaching you well, so that I will improve in my courses and I'll improve in my further career. So yeah, this is about the Pathfinder course, and the price of this course is 35,000. Ma'am, 35,000 is too much. Other courses for 5,000. So let me tell you, investing on yourself is the biggest investment you can do. So the money that you pay now, you might get it in many more times, right? So give an ounce now so that you get back a pound later. So that should be your life formula. So I'm hoping and looking forward to seeing you all in my Pathfinder course. So thank you, and if you genuinely like my way of teaching, so please do like, share and subscribe. So tomorrow at 5:15, so we are talking about the human brain, so don't forget to join me for the structure of the human brain. So until then, this is me signing off. So take care and see you. Bye.